Greetings, citizens of the world. New scandal in Las Vegas massacre. 4 key witnesses from Las Vegas shooting are now dead or missing. At least 58 people are dead and 500 are injured in the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history after Stephen Craig Paddock opened fire on the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival in Las Vegas, Nevada. But, as if this was not bad enough, other strange and bad things began to happen. Almost 4 survivors of the Las Vegas shooting are now dead or missing. 28-year-old Kimberly Suckomel, who was not injured during the shooting at the Route 91 Music Festival and claimed there were multiple gunmen involved in the shooting, was found dead a week after the shooting. She was found deceased just days before the Las Vegas Police Department made a significant change to their official timeline of events on the night of the mass shooting. But Suckomel isn't the first key witness to have died since the shooting attack. John Beilman killed himself and his disabled daughter in a horrific murder-suicide shortly after the FBI raided his home. Beilman was wanted for questioning by federal agents in connection with a communications device discovered in suspected shooter Stephen Paddock's hotel room. Earlier this week, a valet worker from the Mandalay Bay Hotel who parked suspected shooter Stephen Paddock's car disappeared without a word to friends or colleagues. Chad Nishimori mysteriously vanished shortly after he gave a statement to a local news network saying that Paddock was just a normal guy and that he didn't have many bags. Also, Jesus Campos, the Mandalay Bay security guard who was credited with stopping the Las Vegas massacre, was supposed to break his silence Thursday night with 5 television interviews. But when it came time for Campos to tell his side of the story, he was nowhere to be found. Campos, who was shot outside Stephen Paddock's room, mysteriously vanished, leaving no clue where he might be now. Evidence of a conspiracy? What I know in my heart is that we are not getting the whole story. We are being delivered a cover-up.
Peace and much love. This is Caddy1 with GodBlessHipHop.com, here with another epic video breakdown. Now, I want to thank you guys for all the support, all the comments. I'm blown away by like how many views my videos have gotten, and I feel blessed. And I just want to know the truth, just like you. So God is the author of truth. He's not the author of confusion. So I want to resemble that. I want to reflect that. So I thank you guys for understanding that I'm not here to try to cause more confusion or lies. I'm trying to cut through all the BS and get to the truth and see the light. So anyway, this video was brought to my attention. A YouTube comment was brought up, and somebody said that the windows on the Mandalay Bay had multiple windows taken out, and they showed video. There's a video of it you can see online. But I noticed something right away, and studying this video, I found that these windows that are open on this side are not facing the concert venue. So when he shows the broken windows here, he pans over to the whole front side of the Mandalay Bay, and you don't see any windows open. No other windows are open, okay? So I just wanted to point that out, that this video is a little deceptive, okay? But at the same time, I do want to point out that these windows are not very hard to remove. As you can see in this video here, I don't know how long it took. I mean, this video clip's only a minute long, but it seemed like when they put the windows back after they're done, that it's very easy to do. So somebody with this knowledge could have easily taken out one of those windows, and then, was the second shooter or was the actual shooter? Who knows? You don't see any muzzle flashes. You don't see any muzzle flashes coming from this side of the building in any of the videos. Okay, if you can, I'd love to see that. Do a breakdown for me, because I can't see it. Anyway, people theorize that there's a shooter on a lower level. Now, what is surprising to me is that people are claiming that the shooter that was up here is using a flash hider. Okay, he's using a flash hider, and the shooter at the lower level is not. Does that make any sense? You're at the lower level. You're trying to be, concealed. You want to hide the fact that you're a second shooter. You want to make it look like there was only one shooter, because that's what the police are saying. That's what the news is saying, that there was only one shooter. So if you were trying to hide yourself as a shooter, you would use a flash hider. Okay, so it doesn't make sense that the lower level shooter didn't use a flash hider and that the upper level shooter did. Okay, so that's my main problem, is why don't we see any muzzle flashes on the 32nd floor? Okay, he might have been using a flash hider, and he might have had multiple flash hiders. I mean, he was a millionaire, but regardless, it doesn't make sense why he would even use them. I mean, he wasn't using a silencer, so this security zeroed in on where the shots were coming from right away. So it's not like he had to hide from where he was, and he was bent on killing people. And even if the people knew where the shots were coming from, I doubt there was very little they could do about it, because as you could see in the video, there was no place to hide at all. It was just open space. So they're just sitting ducks in an open space, and there's no reason. He was ready to die. He died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, so he was ready. There was no reason for him to use flash hiders. There really wasn't. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So I just want to add that, and I just want to let you guys know about this video before it becomes part of the theory. But it's just an observation. This side is not the same side as you see over here, because this side has no broken windows. No open windows. Okay, that's all I wanted to point out. But I also wanted to point out that it seems very easy to open these windows and close these windows as well. So that's it. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. I hope you stay protected. I hope you stay vigilant and stay wise. There's no better protection than the Most High. Thank you. God bless you. Peace.
Greetings, citizens of the world. Critical Las Vegas massacre witness found dead as Area 51 warned was true target, not concert. As if the Las Vegas massacre couldn't become any more mysteriously bizarre than it already is, along comes a new Foreign Intelligence Service (SVR) report circulating in the Kremlin today, grimly detailing how a critical witness survivor to this horrific event was just discovered dead, with the SVR also sensationally stating that the true target of this massacre was not the concert crowd itself, but a secret Pentagon flight departing from McCarran International Airport, located next to where this massacre took place, en route to one of the most highly guarded and secretive military bases in the world known as Area 51. According to this report, 28-year-old Kimberly Suckomel was attending the Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas on 1st of October, when CIA gunrunner Stephen Paddock was said to have single-handedly opened fire upon the nearly 22,000 people there, but with Suckomel quickly disputing the CIA's lone gunman theory by her stating, "Bullets were coming from every direction. Behind us, in front of us, to the side of us. But I just know, that there was someone chasing us. The entire time I felt this way. The farther we got from the venue, the closer the gunfire got. I kept looking back expecting to see the gunman and SA men because there was more than one person. There was more than one gun firing. 100% more than one. As we were running, we kept changing direction, because it felt like no matter what direction we took, we were being followed." Unlike the hundreds of other witnesses reported seeing multiple shooters during this massacre, though, this report continues, Kimberly Suckomel's eyewitness account could not be readily disputed due to her being, perhaps, the most experienced observer to these types of horrific events occurring, with her expert experience gained from her being the co-founder of the High Desert Phoenix Foundation, that is a charity who financially assists victims of tragedies. Working with and dating her fellow survivor comrades following the Las Vegas massacre, this report details, Kimberly Suckomel, on 8 October, had a heated exchange with a top investigator from whom she demanded to know why the FBI was wiping out the videos and text messages from the phones and laptops of these survivors, but her never receiving an answer as she was found dead the following morning of 9 October, and whose death SVR analysts believe was caused by a CIA psychotropic assassination device known to kill and or disable those known to have epilepsy, like Suckomel was known to have. With Kimberly Suckomel being the latest critical witness survivor to have turned up mysteriously dead, this report continues, the Las Vegas police and FBI were said to have went into full damage control yesterday during their latest press conference where they, yet again, attempted to fix the narrative of this massacre, but who didn't allow any questions to asked, and even more astoundingly, ordered all independent journalists to leave before this press conference began. The narrative attempting to be fixed on the Las Vegas massacre by the CIA, this report explains, is that of the lone gunman, and as exampled by Assistant Sheriff Todd Fasullo of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, stating immediately after this massacre, "I want to emphasize we believe Paddock is solely responsible for this heinous act, but that SVR intelligence analysts state was not possible to ascertain without a lengthy investigation occurring first, but that, also, the CIA has successfully used in the past to blame lone gunmen for the public execution assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Reverend Martin Luther King, and U.S. presidential candidate Robert Kennedy." Standing nearly alone against the CIA's massive manipulation of the U.S. mainstream propaganda media to narrative fix their lone gunman lie, this report continues, are two pro-President Trump independent journalists, Alex Jones of InfoWars and the conservative American journalist Ann Coulter, with Coulter noting that the U.S. mainstream propaganda media were being strangely reluctant to pursue details about Stephen Paddock, and who, also, agrees with the SVR's assessment that Paddock was a CIA gunrunner who laundered his money through Las Vegas gambling casinos, and who this past week scathingly wrote, "Now the media are just taunting us with their tall tales about Stephen Paddock, the alleged Las Vegas shooter. Reputedly serious news organizations are claiming that he made a living playing video poker. That's like claiming someone made a living smoking crack. The media are either doing PR for the gambling industry or they don't want anyone considering the possibility that Paddock was using gambling to launder money." NBC News reports, with a straight face, Las Vegas gunman earned millions as a gambler. A Los Angeles Times article is headlined, "In the solitary world of video poker, Stephen Paddock knew how to win." The story says that Paddock's gambling was at least a steady income over a period of years. I don't know all the ins and outs of Paddock's life, but that's a lie. Not being reluctant, though, to follow the facts wherever they might lead, unlike the U.S. mainstream propaganda media, this report says, are SVR intelligence analysts, among whose new findings regarding the Las Vegas massacre involve a mysterious American named Floyd Conrad, whose importance lies in his being in the room directly below Stephen Paddock at the Mandalay Bay Hotel in Las Vegas at the exact time this massacre occurred, and whose eyewitness story was widely spread for public consumption. According to Floyd Conrad's widely spread story, this report details, he was staying in room 31-134 and adjoining room of 135 at the Mandalay Bay Hotel on the 31st floor, and that was beneath the 32nd floor rooms of Stephen Paddock identified as being 32-134 and adjoining room 135. The exact account of Floyd Conrad as to what he had witnessed, this report says, includes his stating that his first awareness of what was occurring was when he noticed some debris hit his window as it plummeted toward the ground, with his then always keeping something between himself and the glass as bullets rained down on the crowd below, but who strangely never called the hotel operator or police to report the gunfire happening right above him, or turn on his television, choosing, instead, as he says, to listen to police broadcasts on an application he had on his cell phone. In decades of researching civilian accounts of their being caught in terrorist incidents, this report continues, FVR intelligence analysts were unable to find a single example as like was stated by Floyd Conrad, with the normal actions of such people being caught in such a circumstance being their immediately reaching out to police authorities, followed immediately by their trying to reach their loved ones, and all of whom, also, would immediately access television or radio to find out what was happening. Floyd Conrad, also, this report notes, further stated that at 4 a.m. a SWAT team came through his room, but with no further details about this being given by him. The importance to Floyd Conrad's account of this massacre, this report explains, is in its supporting the CIA's lone gunman narrative, but with the SVR believing that Conrad was himself a CIA operative as virtually no public records of him exist, with all that could be found was his being listed as Floyd Conrad by a Midwest limousine based at a small residential house at 901 rural St. Emporia, Kansas where no limousines could be found, let alone be able to be stored there, and whose Facebook page remains blank and states that it is an unofficial page and whose only public review was posted in 2007. In the SVR's determining as to how exactly the mysterious Floyd Conrad fit into the Las Vegas massacre matrix, was he a patsy, mole or professional, this report continues, alarm was raised when decrypted electronic intercepts made available yesterday discovered his returning to his home state of Kansas from Las Vegas via an undesignated flight that landed at McConnell Air Force Base in Wichita, and that was followed an hour later when U.S. authorities confirmed that Stephen Paddock had, indeed, targeted two massive aviation fuel tanks that adjoined the Las Vegas venue where this massacre took place, but that the SVR had concluded and documented was true 8 days earlier on 5th of October. Originally working under the hypothesis that the CIA perpetrators of the Las Vegas massacre planned to blow up these massive aviation fuel tanks in order to effectuate their escapes while total chaos rained down upon this city to save the thousands of people locked into the concert zone, and that U.S. police authorities confirmed Stephen Paddock was intending to do, this report further details. FVR intelligence analysts began to radically modify this assessment yesterday after reviewing COSNA's 2,410 satellite photographs taken of the Las Vegas McCarran International Airport on the morning of, during the afternoon, and through the evening of 1st of October. Though not known to many of the American peoples, this report notes, McCarran International Airport is home to one of the most secretive airlines in the world whose aircraft hangars are adjacent to these massive aviation fuel tanks targeted by CIA gunrunner Stephen Paddock, and is known as Janet, that stands for just another non-existent terminal, and who, on the evening of 1st of October, had two of their Beechcraft Super King Air aircraft ready to depart Las Vegas with their destination being Area 51. Which is a highly classified remote detachment of Edwards Air Force Base, within the Nevada Test and Training Range, and that according to the CIA, the correct names for our homie airport in Groom Lake. FVR analysis of surveillance intercepts and satellite images of these two Janet aircraft, this report says, shows that they were due to depart from Las Vegas en route to Area 51 on 1st of October at 22:30. 10:30 p.m. local time, but for reasons not known, were placed back into their secure hangars at 21:37, 9:37 p.m. local time, barely 30 minutes prior to the massacre beginning. With the SVR first believing that the Janet aircraft ready to depart Las Vegas for Area 51 on the evening of 1st of October was part of a normal shift rotation of workers. Subsequent analysis revealed them to be planning to board a high-level Pentagon group of officers and scientists investigating the most mysterious crash ever recorded in U.S. history, and that claimed the life of one of the top military test pilots in the world, U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Eric Schultz. On 5th of September, at approximately 1800 hours, 6 p.m. local time, a mysterious aircraft piloted by Colonel Schultz crashed, killing him in Area 51. That was followed, barely 24 hours later, with an additional two A-10 military aircraft crashing there too, but whose pilots survived. As to the mysterious aircraft Colonel Schultz was flying at the time he crashed, this report details, many in the American aviation community believe was a flanker, Russian military aircraft with their asserting this based on Colonel Schultz having spoken the previously month with world-renowned Russian military test pilot Colonel Magom Tolboyev, and who had warned his American counterpart, "Do not do this. It's only our plane, dear. We know what to do with it. First you need to know what you're on. The Cossack is only a Cossack on his horse." English. Important to note about Colonel Schultz, this report says, is that he was not only one of the world's best test pilots, he was a highly educated scientist too, and that made him uniquely able to administer the strange, bizarre flight characteristics of even the most esoteric flying vehicles. At this point, this SVR report goes into a highly classified section we're not able to report on, but with our firm assurance that the esoteric flying vehicles being referred to is an ancient Vimana, and that prior to 2010, only Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union were in possession of, thus showing why Colonel Tolboyev was able to describe to Colonel Schultz the characteristics of how to pilot it. As to how the U.S. obtained its own esoteric aircraft, in December 2010, the SVR reported that the Americans had discovered an ancient Vimana in Afghanistan, and that a year later, in August 2011, caused the deaths of nearly 50 elite U.S. soldiers and technicians who were removing it from its time well enclosure. The administration portion of this SVR report concludes with its noting that the more plausible normal motivation for the Las Vegas massacre occurring, than it being caused by a 64-year-old man with no known motive, was due its being a cover for the true targets of the CIA false flag attack, all which should now be centered on the mysterious Area 51 esoteric aircraft, and which American factions are at war with each other to gain the knowledge, and use, of, but, with SVR analysts warning that time is running out for those Americans attempting to discover the truth due to the CIA's decades-long success in their lone gunman narrative-fixing lies, and that conforms with what scientists from the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute stunningly discovered in 2011, and who stated that if just 10% of the population believes something, their belief will always be adopted by the majority of the society, and is, also, a good description of sheep. We have way too many other diversions in this country going on at the same time to keep us occupied for something bigger looming in the future. The scary thing is there is just too much for this to be a coincidence. The more I hear about this incident, the more it smells. However, We wouldn't be too quick to jump on with conclusions. Hopefully, the truth will come out soon. Now is a way too early to know the answers. Let investigators do their job over the next several months and then we will find out the true nature of this attack. What do you think? Were these events only a coincidence or not? Scroll down to leave a comment below.